Hey, it's Shabes, and welcome to another expedition of the Anime Encyclopedia. It's gonna be a short one today. At least I think so. Because I didn't go shopping. I was planning to go shopping today, but I wrote my script instead. I wrote about Naruto. And then did like a voice chat for a little while. So, not the best time management on my part. And I also have a movie, gonna go see Sonic with the mates tonight. So, all things considered, not gonna. Also, we're like, wait, did he read? And so I did the reading earlier in the week, like Sunday, a while ago, because I just wanted to get. I didn't want to have a situation again where I didn't have I ran out of time, didn't have enough time to do it, you know. So, made sure I did it. So I have it all done. First edition is complete for G. The G's complete for first edition. I also have a new mix you might notice with Moomin. I saw Moomin music and autumn ambience in the tab over, so I was like, oh, I'll change it. Hello, Greg. Good to see you. So I think I'll wait for a couple people. I guess I'll start at 6. I should at least do that. But so I'm gonna try to like be a little more efficient with it and try not to spend and then might not hang around a little while or try to get around hours or something because I need to go out to shop, go grocery shopping. I finished Dog of Flanders. I thought the 70s show was very meh, the worst masterpiece theater I've seen so far, but the movie was very good. That's cool. Have you seen I know it's kind of out of your way or whatever, but the Dazaki episode of Dog of Flanders. If you want me to send it to you, if you like DM me on Twitter or something, I could probably get that. It's cool. It's really interesting. You know, it's a nice style and it's abbreviated. It's only one episode. It's a whole story in 20 minutes. So I like it in that for that. It's a shame about the series though, because I mean it is formative because it's like the first one under that brand. At the same time, I'm not totally surprised. I guess. I'm not even that big a fan of the movie necessarily, but I can imagine it's an improvement given the kind of heightened production value and again telling the story in a more succinct way instead of kind of dragging it out 50 episodes. Haven't seen that Dazaki one. Yeah. It's really good. My AMV, I'll link it, is what that footage is it takes the footage from that episode. Let me see if I can. Yeah. This is from Hazel's upload of it. We each uploaded our own version of it. She has the she did the uncensored version of the song, and then I did this. This is the other one. World Masterpiece Theater started with Dororo, didn't it? It was formative. It wasn't an official logo though, because Heidi is also not World Masterpiece Theater in the same way. But it is kind of the one that kickstarted and was like, oh, we could do a yearly installment of a famous whatever. But I bet the difference is that, because you could also count like Moomin as well from 1972. Because that's also like kind of based on like a outside novel or whatever, from like other countries and stuff. But like Dororo's a manga adaptation, you know? I think it might have to do with the time slot. I think that was, or that sponsor or something about that. That makes a specific differentiation. But in terms of like World Masterpiece Theater, the first one is Dog of Flanders, ostensibly. And then I think it's like Rascal and Heidi are added in retroactively. So you see them in a lot of the World Masterpiece Theater art. Like, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but to my knowledge, I don't think there's any art that like has Dororo in it, you know, as it's a Tezuka character, you know what I mean? It's a Tezuka creation. By the way, I finally decided to join that screenshot Discord server you made a video on. Oh yeah, it's good you took some time, because I unfortunately, I didn't know I had this power, because I'm like not the biggest creator or anything, but I did have that influence where I accidentally overwhelmed the Discord server, and they had to lock it and make it like really private invites for a while. So I felt really bad about that. I didn't give them proper I didn't intend that to happen, but so I felt awful about that. But I'm happy you're in it. Yeah, it's a great server. That's where I'm watching Heidi. We watched episode 24 on Thursday. Anyway, 601. Let's get into it, fellas. Good to see you here. All right, this is the rest of G. Just for the first edition, so we'll start with some changes. Time a Tranger, or so it's the article is for Goshogun, but they're talking about Time a Tranger in this particular one. Time a Tranger, if you don't know, it's like a weird OVA movie type of thing that like, it's so strange because it's based on the Goshogun's like a mecha, whatever thing, kind of general show, kind of for kids or whatever, to my knowledge. And then Time a Tranger is just like all the characters are grown up and like it's a lot more surreal and weird and everything, but it's good. I actually have seen it, and it's really interesting and really fascinating and really well directed and shit. But they hated it anyway. They added to add to everybody's confusion. The movie was released in 2003 as Time Stranger. All right. Gatamon. They changed wearing nothing but a skimpy loincloth to wearing little more than a skimpy top, turban, and loincloth. I wonder who corrected them on that. Interesting. Or maybe they corrected themselves. Like, fair, I guess. It's funny. Like, in terms of the main character, I guess, wearing that. Grandique. They added more synopsis, and they also removed this little bit about the 2000 side story sequel. With description? Let's find out. Let's see what I meant by that. Again, I wrote these on Thursday. Again, not the best choice. That's usually why I like doing the reading right before I stream, so I know all the notes and stuff. Even if I read it, it would have been kind of like, I don't know. Let's see, Grandique. Yeah. So they added they're describing it, and they say based on a manga by pseudonymous, Koki Osei. This is what they added. The story arguably is less about its putative heroine than it is about the sword she carries, the sentient Ihorn blade that wishes to find a wielder so that it can avenge the death of its former owner some 50 years later. Oh yeah, this is a weird one. So like, oh, what the fuck was the problem with this one? So like, yeah, they said, oh yeah, the first edition, they say it was a sequel, or there was a sequel or whatever. They removed bit about the 2000 side story sequel with the description. Yeah, so they added more synopsis, which is what they added there. And then, this thing, Grandique, it's, from 2000, 45 minutes, and there's nothing else. But, in the first edition, this is a similar situation, like a removed entry. I didn't really write it down as removed entry. But where is it? Grandique. Yeah, they cut this part from the first edition. The story continues in Grandique's side story from 2000, in which their companion Yuri has to be stopped from killing her former lover Aileen, who has been transformed into a demon assassin. So they list Grandique in the first edition as coming out in 1999, but in the third edition it says it's coming out in 2000, and then on Mal and stuff, I'll go show you the visuals. They also say it's from November 2000. So for some reason they thought this might be the sequel they're talking about? It's based on the manga, but there's nothing else. There's an adaptation. It's an adaptation of a manga, but that's it. So I don't know if the prequel was right, or the sequel just never got made or something. I don't know. It was very mysterious. Yeah. Let me put it down a little bit. Let me know if the music's okay. I'm gonna put it like that. Yeah. So that was bizarre. That's why I like going through all these, going through the whole thing. You never notice this stuff. Hello, Kexi. Good to see you. Yeah. All right. Let's keep going. Grandizer. They added a paragraph on the Italian and French localization history, which was really interesting. I'll probably talk about that when I get to the good. That's really the only good thing I found in that particular reading. But it was really cool and interesting. They added that for the 3rd edition. Grappler Baki. The first edition. Baki was kind of a mess, actually. Gosh, what a fucking weird article. The 1st edition, they only list the 80-minute OVA. So like in the the things here at the top here, they give you the director and the year and the how long it is and stuff. So in the area where it says how long it is, they usually list all of the entries. When it's like, if there's a TV series and a movie, they're going to list the how many episodes was the episodes and how long the movie was. But here they only list the OVA 80 minutes. And then I guess it's because the TV series hadn't come out at that time. They mentioned the 2001 series that it's directing, beginning with a, when they describe it and they're talking about it as if they had seen it, but they don't mention at the top here, so I thought that was weird. And then they also changed this little part here. Yujiro Kurama, who, just a wild guess, is the man who killed his father, to Yujiro Kurama, his own father. So guess they got it wrong. Guess they guessed wrong. There was in terms of who Yujiro is, let me just also that he can beat Yujiro Kurama, who, just a wild guess, is the man who killed his father. It is his father. they don't, and there's no snark, right? When they put this snark in, right, it always gives me that vibe of like, oh, they didn't really like it or whatever. They kind of have contempt for it. But it's funny, they completely remove that contempt. It's like his own father. Interesting. They also added some bit about the 2001 sequel series Side-Eye Tournament for the 3rd edition. And then, of course, all the Netflix OVAs and things like that weren't made before 2015. Grave of the Fireflies, they changed a small thing, really tiny thing, from father in the forces to father in the Navy. Which kind of makes sense. They have more sense. It was like, oh, that's why they obviously can't contact him. And they also added a paragraph about the 2005 live-action movie. Interesting. Didn't know that happened. Great composers. They cut the localized title of Genie with light brown hair. I Dream of Genie? I don't know why they did that. Let me see. Yeah, so there's this anime, Genie with the light brown hair. Which I have to find I want to find the Japanese name for it. Just so we're clear. It's not just one of their localization efforts. Not that I completely reject those wholesale, mind you. It's just sort of like, for everyone's clarification. Where is it? Gianni. Oh, there it is. Kimpatsu no Gianni. Yeah. Or golden hair Gianni. Yeah. Kimpatsu means like more gold, I guess. Like light brown, I guess, works. I'm sure. It's from 1979. But like, where do they get the I Dream of Genie? Oh! Okay, so I guess there's a song. It has to do with the song. I Dream of Genie, a song by the American Stephen Foster. See great composers. Okay. Yeah. I guess that makes more sense in that case. So they just kind of cut that, I guess, maybe out of confusion. Great. Heyo, Osweeb. Good to see you. Great Conquest of the Three Kingdoms. They changed movie version by Inoki to movie version by Toei. Just, quick correction. Moved G-Taste, the article, from before GTO, Great Teacher Onizuka, to before Gai King. So, like, way ahead. Like, towards the beginning of the beginning of G. And they also added a description of future episodes, because only what it seems that way, because G-Taste, what is it? I think G-Taste like came out. Yeah, like G-Taste is listed as like $19.99, and the first edition says 30 minutes times 3 episodes. And so they describe the 3 episodes, of course, OVA, of course, they're watching to just tell you what happens. And so they actually like, kind of add more, because ultimately 7 episodes would come out from that franchise series. GTO, they added a part about the live action series of Junai Gumi, and as well as the Bad Company prequel. They kind of go a little more detailed, like kind of where GTO comes from, because there's a whole prequel stuff business with it. A lot of different adaptations too, like a live action series and things like that. They also added the mention of the erotic pastiche GTR. Read teacher. To find it. Let's see if I could just just Control F GTR for Encyclopedia. Doesn't really work out that well. Okay. Onizuka-kun. Yeah, they actually have it labeled in the 3rd edition as GTO, and in the first one just GTO, which is interesting. It's just fair also, because the show abbreviates itself that way too. Where is it? Yeah, Great G-Cup Teacher Ray is the name of the pastiche. I see. Gunbuster. They added mention of the science lessons, those little chibi shorts that are on the 94 Laserdisc, and also the like Ultimate Perfect Guide that kind of came out in 2004. And of course, they added a paragraph about Die Buster, because it hadn't come out until 2004 or so. Gundam. Oh boy, they're Gundam. No man, that fucking Gundam entry. Sheesh. They added this blurb about its irony of a initial failure proving popularity later on, which is true and good that they mentioned that. It was interesting they didn't have that information at the time in 2001, that it was like a kind of a TV failure and it got cut short. I would feel like that's kind of like makes sense, because it's 43 episodes. Like, that's such a weird number to end on, They removed this little blurb about the creation of Yoshiyuki Tomino, veteran of Astro Boy and Brave Raideen. Alright. Yeah, I guess it's sort of fair. And it's at the very least, it's like, titles before Gundam. But like, I mean, I definitely probably would have, I think it would have been better if they mentioned, actually, I don't think Daitarn. That makes sense, because they didn't even list Daitarn in the first edition. I remember that was one of the new entries, which is surprising, as it for a Tomino work. Like, I would have probably been like, oh, directing a Zambot and Daitarn, but maybe it's like, oh, the American audience don't know what that is. They know what Astro Boy is, and probably Brave Raideen maybe had like a U.S. localization, so that could have been why. Just like weird picks for me, because like it's not like he directed Astro Boy. He did episodes for it, like storyboards and maybe episode direction. Pretty sure I have that Gunbuster Laserdisc. Oh hi Kexi, let's go Gundam. I have the collector's DVD for Gunbuster. I'm still excited for the Discotype Blu-ray. Yeah. Hopefully hopefully it's up to people's expectations. I have absolutely no involvement in it so far. Maybe they'll let me do something, but. So far, it's Brady's thing. Changed how they said in the first edition that 0083 bridges the gap between Double Zeta and F91, and then what it actually is in the 3rd edition, they changed it. It's supposed to be bridging the gap between 0080 and Zeta Gundam. Even that's kind of weird, because it's like, I mean, I haven't seen Stardust Memory yet, but like, yeah, it happens before Zeta Gundam, which that's more accurate to say than between Zeta and F91, because Zeta takes place in Uchuruki, I don't know, Universal Century 85, I'm pretty sure, or maybe I'm dumb. I think I'm pretty sure, because the 80 based on, never mind. So that it's technically more accurate, but like it makes it sound like 83 is related to 80, which is I don't think they are. That'd be interesting, but like I'm pretty sure they're both isolated, separate, their own stories. I could be wrong. Voltus V. I mean, from what I know, Tomino simply worded as an in-between animator. I don't know about Volta. I mean, for Brave Raideen, he directed half the show, and then Astro Boy he did episode direction, storyboarding. But I was talking about Daitarn 3, which is that Bob just recently made a review on it. Actually, it's like the second. Yeah, I think it comes. I think he did. I keep swapping them. I'm pretty sure it's Zambot in 77, and Daitarn in 78, and then Gundam in 79. As I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. I finally got my Blu-ray copies of Memories. Thanks, Shapes. Yeah, I hope you enjoy that. Gosh, unbelievable release of that. Stardust Memory happens between Gundam 79 and Zeta, as 80 happens before the end of 79. Yeah, okay. So it's technically accurate. It's just a little weird. But still, yeah, interesting change. They also added the blurb about the Turn A compilation movies, because I guess it was, Turn A was coming out pretty much at the time. They also added about Seed Destiny, Otomo's CG short, interestingly, Gundam Evolve, Igloo, Apocalypse 79, Zeta the Zeta movies, Double O, Ring of Gundam, and Unicorn. I don't know if they missed any. I didn't look into it too much myself. They didn't really mention the little chibi. They mentioned SD Gundam in the first edition, but I mean like the real toy where the robots talk. Where like the mecha have big eyes and they talk. I don't know. But it's okay if they're not thorough. I'm impressed they're as thorough as they are. I had never heard of Apocalypse 79. They also added this blurb about how New Type USA published a chapter of an English language prequel for the Barrel. For the Barrel is like a light novel, I guess. They posted English language prequel, I guess. Cool. There's also a paragraph about how Gundam suffers an identity crisis, and they're kind of just talking about it generally, and I'll go into that when I talk about their Gundam section. There's also a big blurb about Silver. The way they end their section on Gundam in the 3rd edition is talking about Silver Otaku, which we'll get into as well, hopefully. Hopefully I make mention of that. Gundress is almost wholly reworded and organized. Like, they really changed it significantly. If you want me to go into more detail on that, we can investigate. But I figured a Gundress, not many people know or care about that one, so whatever. And then they also added the paragraph about how it was released unfinished, which is kind of really important. Let me read that. I won't read the whole thing or make big comparison or anything, but they really kind of tore that one apart. Not like a big review as some of their other ones, but they were not too kind to it. But then they gave that context, and it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Let's see. Partly because not even Shiro can wave a magic wand and make something interesting out of 4 stereotypical girls conceived for a computer game. This is what they added, but largely because it was released unfinished. The premiere date of the film was immovable, since it relied upon block-booked theaters for which fans had bought tickets in advance. Rather than risk refunds and disaster, the producers elected to show the incomplete film with the promise of a later exclusive for the faithful. At the time, it was a fiasco. 15 years later, all too many anime seem half-finished, and fandom hardly seems to notice. Nice dig on anime as a medium, guys. I mean, are they wrong? Are they wrong? No. No, they're not. I mean, unfortunately not. They're not really concerned about conclusivity in the same way. But still, that stings. By Silver Otaku, I'm assuming the 3rd generation Otaku. Kind of. They more mean the 1st generation. So Silver Otaku meaning they have silver hair, they're older. So they're more first generation or even like 0 gen, you know, like really old guys, because they're talking about how like now they're making merchandise of like a real life car for Shara, you know, based on Shara Aznable, like a real car, and they make a big hubbub about it. Whatever. Masamune Shiro just designed the characters and mechs for Gundress. He just designed the characters and mechs for Gundress. He had no input on the plot. Also, hey, yes, they do mention that. They're not. They don't. That's not contradictory to what they're saying. But they, you know. So this is what they say about it. I don't want to talk about the synopsis, whatever. In a disappointing one-shot anime from the people who brought you Landlock, which similarly cashes in on the alleged involvement of planning assistant Masamune Shiro. With a high concept tantalizingly close to an episode of the later Ghost in the Shell spin-off standalone complex, and a multiracial Bayside city that was once Yokohama like that in Dominion, and robot suits like something out of Appleseed, this confection is substantially less than the sum of its Shiro-designed parts. Early press hype talked up the use of real voice actresses instead of the ones who specialized in anime, but it sank without a trace in Japanese market, partly because not even Shiro can wave a magic wand and make something interesting out of the 4 stereotypical girls conceived for a computer game, but largely because it was unfinished, etc., etc. So, I don't think that necessarily contradicts what they said, but you're right. He doesn't have like a direct involvement or like the original concept or something. In the last change, Guyver, they added a new paragraph about the 2005 series, naturally. All right, so new entries that I haven't read yet. I'm considering them like 3rd edition type of thing. Gawapa 5 Godam from 1976 they added from the 1st edition, to what I can tell. You know, I try to find it in here, not just like look, oh, it's not here, but like sometimes you can actually find it and they moved it to a completely different section. If you go to the very back and go to like anime titles, and they not only list the localization title that they use, but even the Japanese one that they do include, but it's there as well. So some of them they list twice and shit like that. And if it's not there, then it's like it's probably not here, unless they completely misspell it wrong or some shit. In which case, I'll probably find out later once I've read the whole thing, you know. Haha, they're labeling them based on hair color, I see. I wonder if they something on the blue hair generation. Otaku's worshipping and looking like Rei Ayanami. No, I mean, yeah, Silver Fox, I think, is the term that they're borrowing, basically. Greuzer X from 1976, and then Guy Slugger from 1977. Kind of in the same ballpark, same area, really. With a lot of these new entries. It seems like a lot of them are from 76, 77. But they got the 80s down pat. The 90s down pat, Alright, positive reviews. Positive impressions. Grave of the Fireflies, of course they liked it. Takahata, and that's not to be snide. I don't mean to be snide. It's like, I'd hope so, and that's good. Takahata's masterpiece, among other things that they say. Gray Digital Target they liked, and that makes sense because this is one of those titles I've written. I'm starting to keep a list that feels like they can't keep out of their mouths. Like they keep bringing it up, even though like, what the fuck is this? I've never heard of this before. I'm interested. I'm definitely interested now that I've read their article about it. It's one of the titles I listed as like I'm now interested in. But they said it was an excellent film, a nihilistic romance, and forerunner of The Matrix. Pretty high praise. What is their entry for Goldfish Warning like? I just finished watching it and loved it. I also had the honor of writing the first review for it on Mal. Oh, wow! I can't believe I hadn't had reviews up until now. That's crazy. Hey, congrats. I will get into it. I think I mentioned Goldfish Warning somewhere. Or maybe it was just sort of like mixed or... I don't know. I can read it afterwards for sure. Let me read it now before I forget, because I imagine I'll be like, all right, I'm done, bye. I might do that accidentally, so I'm going to read it now. I don't think there was any changes, so I'll just read it from the book. Oh, I shared it. Actually, I thought it was funny and weird, so I ended up sharing it with like the definitive anime chat. because I posted it in their like archived version. Snooty rich girl Chitose Fujinomiya is left in poverty after the death of her father. Thrown out of the elite city academy with nothing but her valuable pink goldfish Gyopi for company, she is found on the premises of the rundown country high school where children and animals attend classes together. Regaining some of her inheritance from an embezzling family lawyer, Chitose uses some of the money to rebuild the struggling school, making herself the chairperson of the school board and student body president. With completely selfish motives, she tries to improve her new school in order to bring a little urban sophistication, and, she hopes, trounce the feckless city academy and its prissy student president, Eureka. Her classmates are less keen, with the likable redhead Wapiko mediating between Chitose and the irate animals, while simultaneously fending off the advances of Eureka's assistant, Takapi. A madcap comedy and long-term fan favorite, incorporating meditations on how Candy Candy would have worked out if its heroine were a bitch, coupled with surreal visuals and designs that presaged the more abstract moments of director Ikuhara's later Utena, based on Nekobei's 1989 manga in the magazine Nakayoshi. I wonder if anyone picks up, if you haven't seen Goldfish Warning, I wonder if anyone picked up on something a little weird or wrong about that. Did I even write it down? I don't know why I didn't. I guess I was just so, I guess I was so excited to share it with the chat that I didn't even write it down. Or maybe I wrote it somewhere else. No, I totally did. I think I did, actually. Wait. Genocyber to... I did. Yeah, we talked about this in the last stream. Surreal visuals and designs that presage the most abstract moments of director Ikuhara's later Utena. It wasn't directed by Ikuhara. He did episodes for it. Like 5, maybe. But it's Junichi Sato. It's Junichi Sato's joint. What the fuck? Give credit where it's due. Annoying. Great Digital Target was directed by Satoshi Itazaki. That's all I know. Oh. That lowers my expectations a little bit. I'm sorry. I feel so bad. Like, I don't feel bad. I've never found a good quality version of Great Digital Target. The only one I could find is stretched to 16:9 despite it clearly being a 4:3 anime. I mean, you could use VLC and like change the aspect ratio. I mean, you could do that. So I mean, kind of manually, not the greatest way, but you know. Message retracted. Damn, I didn't get to read them. So no mention of Junichi Sato. No. They have him listed as the director, alongside Atsutoshi Umezawa and Kunihiko Ikuhara. Why list the episode directors like that? Why gotta be like that? I mean, that's cool. I think I would put fucking Mamoru Hosoda next to Takia Igarashi for Ashino Naja. That's a lot of words. That's a deep cut for some people. Like, if you didn't know who the people were and what that show was, you tell. If you think that's how deep I am. That sentence I just said. Damn. Anyway. Yeah. So no mention. Of course not. Anyway. Gunbuster they liked, of course. The ultimate video anime. They don't say too much other positive things about it. They would I think they would just mention that it's an excellent subtitle version, but they make a point that it was never dubbed and it didn't get the traction that Ava ended up getting. That it definitely could have gotten the same kind of thing that Ava got, I guess. Yeah, debatable. I think it's great. I like Gunbuster a lot, but Ava has something else. Ava's kind of built different. I think they wrote the article before they knew Sato directed it. Maybe. Or they really were. I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking because you very easily, instead of drawing to Utena, they should have drawn to Sailor Moon, which it's the same staff. And this show they made right before. Like, it's right there, and like it would be the big name that like you would want to make. Oh, it's interesting, you know. But no, never mind. Yeah, the problem of using VLC to do that is the parts of the image get cut off when stretching a 4:3 anime. Like, really? Damn. VLC method won't restore that. Oh. When you said it was 16 by, I thought you meant like just stretched, but they chopped. Well, here's the thing. If Great Digital Target was a movie and was filmed with the intention, like it could have been storyboarded by 16:9, and like there probably is a open matte 4:3 version somewhere available, similar to the Ashino Joe movie, or like Project Eiko, or like Urusei Yatsura Beautiful Dreamer, where like, yeah, there probably is a 4:3 version, and there is. I mean, we include both 4:3 and 16:9 on the Eiko disc, as well as Ashino Joe 2, actually, which makes sense because the majority of the footage is 4:3 anyway, and they just kind of, you know, but it's possible that like the 4:3 that is how it was intended, technically. So it could be that situation. I had to retract so I could double check, but Takapi is not Yurika's assistant. Tanakanayama is. They just merged two characters. Oh, right. I'm so bad with names. I'm really bad with names, so I didn't even pick up on that. That's a good point. And then Gunsmith Cats were popular. They were positive about. Apart from the holes, I guess, like, they're just complaining about panty shots, I guess. It's dehumanizing. Yeah, sure. A lot of, you know, there's a lot of terrible things that happen in anime. Sorry, like, very sassy side swipe. Let's see. I'm trying to find, like, oh, they say it's a Sparky adaptation, so that's positive. Despite a setting in a fantasy Chicago, like the urban war zone of Mapo 34's New York, Gunsmith Cats is remarkably lighthearted, complete with gratuitous underwear flashes, myopic bad guys who never shoot straight, and no sign of the manga's forays into drug addiction and child prostitution. The filmmakers made much of their research trips to the real Chicago, but although intense effort is expended on the right noises for guns and cars, less thought was devoted to more important plot elements, such as how gunsmiths stow dangerous weapons, and what the police might think of an underage girl who collects hand grenades. But apart from the holes, this is good fun. Helped greatly in translation by a streetwise US dub from ADV. They're so positive about it, but like, kind of throw shade at it. But I still considered it a positive review. Wait, the Ashino Joe 2 Blu-ray is also in 4:3? Yeah, they just announced. They tweeted about that. So I'm not, you know, not throwing any inside information. I learned that literally from their tweet. That they showed it too. They're like, here's some shots and stuff. I just assumed it was a restored release of the old Bandai Blu-ray. Might need to get that. Yeah. I wrote the back of the box for that disc, by the way. I should probably get it too. Probably. Duh. I need to get a Blu-ray of Gunsmith Cats. Hell yeah. Alright, some negative reviews. I always say it that way. Yeah, I believe Gray was an OVA, so I assume 4:3 was the intended image. And that's the aspect ratio of TVs at the time. But like, if you can't find it in 4:3 and it only exists in 16:9, that does give me the suspicion, you know? Because like, weird creative choices like that happen all the time, you know? I don't know, maybe. Where like fucking Naruto Shippuden, for some reason, for the first 50 episodes, it's still in 4:3, and that's fine, like, whatever. But like, the OPs are in 16:9. So what's going on? Like, they put it in if it's a 4:3 area, like a block, it's still the 4:3 aspect ratio, but then they put white bars or black, whatever, usually white bars, on the top and bottom of the first two OPs. So like, they're made in 16:9, but the show is not in 16:9. Like, why? It's weird. Maybe Grave was released on Laserdisc. Yeah, perhaps. The characters' ages are never specified in the anime. Interesting. Yeah, so Time and Stranger they did not like. They thought it was poor writing, plot is off its rails, quietly racist, and ham-fisted. It's the first time I've ever heard anyone actually talk negatively about that movie. Like, I liked it. I kind of went out of my way because it was sort of a hidden gem of sorts. I've heard a lot of good things about it. Well, the reason I suspect that isn't intended is because the image itself is on the version I found, looks stretched as if it was tampered with. And that's what I mean. That's what I thought you meant initially. So it's like if it's stretched, then you could just unstretch it, right? But if it's stuff that's cut on the top and bottom, that stinks and you can't necessarily find a way to restore that, but, you know. But like I said, that might have been intentional. Anyway, Baki the Grappler they did not like. Their Baki review is kind of rough. Let me read it. Baki Hanma is the youngest martial artist to enter an underground free-for-all fighting tournament. He bests a karate opponent, then fights in the ring against someone whose specialty is ripping out opponents' nerves. The end. Devoid of even the merest hint of plot, Baki simply fights. Instead of a damsel in distress to rescue or evil bad guys to defeat, Baki hits people until the ending credits roll. This anime takes the action-oriented plotting of Street Fighter II and gruesome acts of Story of Ricky to extremes. Baki even comes across as something of a sadomasochist, grinning his way through nasty beatings. Based on Keisuke Itagaki's long-running 1991 manga, whose actual plot was Baki's quest to find who genuinely is the toughest person on the planet. His quest takes him to gangsters, biker gangs, and mercenaries, and the karate sequence in this anime represents just a fraction of his search. The story was brought back for a 2001 TV series, beginning with a 13-year-old Baki fighting 100 men at once, but only beating 37 of them. He trains a number of martial arts, hoping to eventually become the best of the best, also that he can beat Yujiro Kurama, who, just a wild guess, is the man who killed his father. And they said they correct that to being it's his father. The TV series adds extra material not in the manga, particularly concerning Baki's relationship with his mother, and Emi, who keeps on finding new trainers to teach her little rugrat how to kick ass. I mean, it's not totally inaccurate, I guess. It's very, they could very clearly tell it's not their cup of tea. The internet's most vocal Joe fan totally wouldn't pick up that new food. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I guess I've just been lazy. Or I've just been more like, oh, but my shelf space, I'm running out of room, or whatever. Oh. Well, the reason I suspect that, I just watched Time and Trainer recently. It was great. I don't know why they found the plot confusing, surreal, but it's surreal but not confusing. Yeah, a little kink-shaming Baki. I know, yeah. Anywho, Golkiva, easily outclassed by Escaflowne the following year. Whatever, dude. Like, whatever. I get it. Like, you just had kind of like a bone to pick that Escaflowne didn't get as popular as you wanted it to be. Let it be its own thing, and let it be like a really cool fucking show, and it's okay it didn't get super popular. Cream doesn't always rise to the top. Golkiva. Adaptation of a manga originally serialized in Shonen Sunday Super, in which demonic Darknoid invaders from Nosfertia are held off by a group of pretty young boys who inexplicably work in a noodle bar during their time off. Japanese teenager Toya Shinjo is told by his parents that he is not from Earth at all, but rather he is a humanoid from the parallel dimension of Eternalia, reincarnation of an ancient hero, and fated to work together with transforming Animanoid knights from Heventia in order to thwart the Darknoids. Unsurprisingly, the Animanoids are a wolf, a hawk, and a gorilla, uniting speed, flight, and strength, like so many other shows since Babel Nisei. A series in the tradition of shows like Saint Seiya, although its attempt to integrate boys and girls TV anime genres was easily outclassed by Escaflowne the following year. Whatever. Just let the show be its own thing. Leave it alone. Leave Brittany alone. The stuff with his mother is in the manga. No, exactly. No, they do describe that because they're like it's based on a manga whose actual plot, and they're describing the manga for sure, and then also the 2001 series. But they insist that the OVA is nothing but fighting, and that's a bad thing. I guess. Hello. Fun fact, the writer of Time a Stranger is the same guy that wrote the first 3 Pokemon films. Yeah, he really likes to put emphasis on psychology in the stories. That's really great. I feel like I've heard that before, but that's awesome. Gundam 83, they did not like it. No less predictable than that of Time Bokan. Sheesh! Sheesh! Rehashed Char character and Amuro clone. I'll read the full thing so it doesn't feel like it's kind of haphazard. Where are you, Christmas? Yes. And Stardust Memory, which bridged the gap between Double Zeta and the same year's movie Gundam F91, it's supposed to be between Double 80 and Zeta. Following a template no less predictable than that of Time Bokan, Stardust Memory features a rehashed Char character, Anavel Gato, and a brash young Amuro clone, Ko Uraki. 3 years after Aboabaku. You know what I mean, the asteroid they beat in the original Gundam. As the Earth Federation struggles to rebuild its shattered fleet and Zeon plots revenge, the enemy Ace once again tries to steal a Gundam. Drawn unwittingly into a conspiracy to wipe out the Earth Federation HQ by crashing into a colony into it, Ko does his utmost to prevent disaster, but is still court-martialed and jailed, set free only because further political machinations require that the whole affair be forgotten. And then they start talking about F91. I've not seen 83 yet, but that's something. Right, but they say this stuff with his mother is added for the anime, but it just isn't. Really? Huh. Oh. Interesting. Gundam equals Time Bokan. Makes sense. Now, specifically 83. Not necessarily the whole thing. What? Gundam is one of my most liked Gundams. What? I would definitely not describe Ko as an Amuro clone. Sheesh. Yeah, I haven't seen it, so I can't confirm, but... Yeah, that seemed a little, insulting. It's like, come on. But man, am I sick of colonies being yeeted to Earth in UC? I mean... It's a good tune. It's a good trick. It's pretty heavy. They aren't really alike. Also, they spoiled the ending. Oh, rip. They don't like Baki? How do you not love Baki? I'm not surprised. I mean, depending on the author. Maybe one of the authors disagrees, perhaps. I don't know. But, yeah, I can imagine because they don't like Golgo either for a similar reason. Like, it's very macho and, just people beating each other. They fucking generalize Fist of the North Star as just a bunch of tough dudes beating each other up. And it's like, you don't get it. It's really deep, okay? I'm not trying to say that. I just think it is more than that. You know what I mean? I don't know. Is Silver Spoon in the G's, S's, or in the book at all? Let's find out. If it is, it's in the 3rd edition, because it's, that Silver Spoon came out after 2001, and I've not read that entry yet. But I can if you want me to. And I may as well, since I don't want to I want to hop off as soon as I finish this, because I have to go shopping and shit. Yeah, so they do have an article on Silver Spoon. I have not read this yet, or maybe I have in another stream, and I'm sorry, future me. Flunking the exams for his first choice high school, Yugo decides to quit his native Sapporo and go for what at first appears to be an easy option, taking a place out of the sticks at Yezo Agricultural High School. However, he is soon jolted out of his urban complacency by the discovery that his closeted city boy existence still relies on a panoply, I don't even know what that word is, of rustic expertise. Despite seeing himself on arrival as the cool kid in a class of yokels, he is soon overawed by the aspirations of would-be veterinarians, horse breeders, and agronomists. Okay. An unlikely follow-up to her Full Metal Alchemist, Hiromu Arakawa's Silver Spoon rode on its best-selling predecessor's coattails and draws deeply on the author's early life on a Hokkaido dairy farm. Arakawa enjoyed double luck, not only as the sure thing whose previous manga had topped the charts, but as the creator of a new title that began running mere weeks after the disastrous Great Japan earthquake in 2011. With northern Honshu a no-go area, the Japanese domestic travel industry swiftly began pushing Hokkaido as a safe and inviting tourist destination, sweeping the Silver Spoon manga up in the zeitgeist and propelling it swiftly to sales above 1 million. Arakawa's original allegorizes the slacker mentality so popular with modern Japanese youth, matching it with a traditional and good-hearted assertion that kindness to others and a circle of friends is enough to get anyone through life with a smile on their face. In particular, we might note the use of the term Yezo for Yugo's school, invoking the samurai-era name of the island and old world notions of Hokkaido as Japan's greatest cowboy frontier. The sharp-eyed viewer might also note a certain fresh-faced, apple-cheeked glorification of simple hard work and country living, denying much of the materialism of metropolitan Japan, as well as an arch willingness to confront mall rats with the visceral origins of the burgers on their plates. Although this is easily filed with the everyday anime, rural Hokkaido is exotic enough to function as a form of escapism all its own, particularly for teenage viewers trapped in the pressure cooker of cram schools and mock examinations. A live-action movie followed in 2014. They barely talked about the anime in that one. I think it's a decent article, but it was weird that they pretty much just focused on the manga. It's a little weird, but fair enough. Not bad. The deaf making up words. I'm so happy I'm not the only one. I felt so fucking illiterate. I'm like, god damn it. They're probably laughing at me for not knowing all these words and shit. God damn it. Is Silver Spoon? Yeah. I need to rewatch Gundam 83. I saw a few episodes on Adult Swim as a kid. Thought it was boring. I might have a different opinion now. Baki series might be talking about the old 2000s anime. Yeah, that's what they made. Well, they were talking about both the OVA from the 90s and then the 2001 TV series. I mean, yeah, 79 is better than 83, but still 83 is good. Doesn't Jonathan Clements love Golgo 13? That'd be great. I'd be interested. It's very possible that Helen wrote the Golgo article and not Jonathan. And that's great. That's fine. But based on the Anime Encyclopedia article for Golgo 13, literally not even the film, but like they ridicule the series as a whole. Not ridicule, I guess, is a kind of a strong word, but like they don't like the TV series, they don't like the movie, and they kind of poke fun at like the manga being for old people, you know, and they see like the fact that he never loses and shit. They're very negative about Golgo in the encyclopedia. And maybe that's Helen or another author or something, and maybe it's not Clements, but no idea. You'll have no idea. They don't credit unless they explicitly tell you, oh, I wrote that article. Like Helen gets all the credit for writing Clanad, for example. Fist of the North Star is Mad Men X Jesus. Yeah. And shonen anime. Yeah. They're definitely making it worse. The romantic subplot in 83 was kind of boring and frustrating. Trinity is almost as good as 79. Steel Fist and North Stars. Oh, gosh. I haven't watched Victory. Happy they talked about the role of Silver Spoon in pushing the tourist movements within Japan. Yeah. I dropped Origin. I'll admit some of the backstory is wonky, but the goggles bit. I liked the goggles bit in Origin, personally. Clemens talks about Golga 13 in his Final Fantasy's presentation about CGI animation, and he seems to be in praise of it. That's great. That'd be awesome. I would love that. They mention the CG in the Go-Go review as, like, it looks like an Atari game, and that's about it. They don't really, like, ridicule per se, but, like... Director Tazaki treats Duke's Quest... He also experimented with the computer graphics in a helicopter assault scene, inserting now dated CG that makes it not unlike watching an old Atari console. And then the third edition they add, yet was revolutionary for its time. I think I also found a commentary track of him talking about Go-Go on YouTube, but I haven't listened to it yet because I haven't seen the movie. Oh, that's awesome. I would love to hear that. I love that movie. I would love to hear more insight about it. As long as it's like constructive and good. I want to people. I don't want to hear a commentary track of people shitting on that movie. What the fuck? Yeah, you know. Anyway, finally moving on. Gundam Seed. They were negative about. Same old story. And then they kind of after they finished talking about Seed, they used the words cosmic era. It's not unlike the cosmic era nonsense. They're not too fond of the AU stuff, I guess. Gundam in general, they were negative about. They just kind of generalize it as the mature moments too often lost beneath merchandising concerns. I wish they gave examples. Cyclical and repetitive. And the 20th anniversary, which I've heard about it being like 00 and Seed kind of follow the same general formula. But again, like, that's fine if it's a good formula and it's done effectively and it's compelling characters and interesting locations and good fights. Like, there's so much more to it than just because it's the same old story. And then the 20th anniversary went on for about 5 years, which is funny, I guess, but not relevant now. You know what I mean? Clemens talked about how Dazaki put that helicopter scene in the movie as a talking point for people exiting the cinema. Yeah, I think I've heard that point before. And it wasn't just that helicopter scene, it was also the opening scene with the skeleton and the, the skeleton and the bullet and all that stuff was probably like stop motion and stuff. But then they do have a sequence of like one of the buildings in the opening sequence that's CG and all that. But yeah, no, I completely agree. I completely see that would be his logic for it. I feel that people say that Go-Go is boring, don't understand that the appeal comes from how Go-Go affects the lives of other characters, not the man himself. Yeah, undeniably. And also just the action, kind of the cool, at least with the movie, it's like his direction, Tazaki's direction and the music, and just the way that movie's paced, and like, it's really fun. It's a cool movie. Helicopter scene looks pretty bad, but the OP, which is also fully CG, looks amazing. A lot of people don't even seem to notice the OP is CG. I mean, that's what I think. I'm not sure if the OP was stop motion or not. And then just the building was the CG part. I don't know. Still think Golgo CGI looks more like early PS1 over Atari graphics, just compared to Tekken 1. Yeah, like early 3D, and yeah, for sure. They don't really understand what Atari is supposed to look like. And how he chose to depict that scene without people in it because rendering buildings would be a lot easier than rendering faces. Oh yeah, it was a really good choice. If you were going to implement CG anywhere, it would be that scene. It was really smart. I mean, I don't fully know if I agree with, because it was weird that it goes to CG and then to the cell painted and then back to CG and back to cell painted. That part's a little jarring for me. That's hard to fully stomach, I think. But like the sequence itself, it's very iconic, memorable, and like a really interesting choice. I mean, the 20th anniversary just must have worked as Gundam Seed became the best-selling anime of all time. Oh yeah. Clements also made some good points about Blue Remains and Malistal in that presentation. That's awesome. Gundress, negative. It was a disappointing one-shot, substantially less than we talked about that and Sank Without Trace. And then Guyver they didn't like. Not too surprised. Unremarkable sci-fi series. Neither does justice to the material. Neither the OVA and the subsequent series and stuff. Neither does justice to the material. And also, like, the fact that the 2005 series came out way afterwards, and like thus it kind of seemed like outdated and shit. Even though like the series really pioneered that particular subgenre, that niche. Mixed opinions. They thought Graduation was surprisingly heartfelt, and then the sequel exhausts the potential of the original, so they kind of soured on it eventually. Grandal. It's either a lighthearted spoof of anime cliches or a cynical trawl through them, depending on how charitable you feel today. Interesting. It's probably because Gundam Seed is considered one of the best Gundam ever in Japan. I remember hearing somewhere George Lucas was going to make a fully CGI American Gundam movie in the mid-'80s, but the technology wasn't there yet, so it never happened. Yeah, there's like a whole story about the American Gundam movie. Manga E-Gene they were mixed about, because I think they just have this. They didn't really talk about it in terms of a positive or negative thing, but they just were like, here's the selection of the important historical figures that they give, and they kind of give the whole list. And then there's like, such lists can rarely please everybody, but one can only wonder why this character wasn't in it instead of this one, and they just kind of do some whatabouts. So it's an opinion, but it's not. I would say it's pretty even or mixed. Greed. Oh yeah, I don't know why that's in I keep doing this, but like I don't scroll or anything. I keep doing this. Greed. Yeah, I'll mention that later. Green Legend Ron is a above average video anime. Never does anything Miyazaki hasn't done earlier and better. Great. I love that. Can't wait. Wow, cool. And then they were mixed on GTO, I thought, actually. Because of the anime they seemed very lukewarm on. They thought it was cheap TV animation. The live-action series is the quintessential GTO, but the anime still has considerable bite. So they seem to like the story, but I think they were underwhelmed about the anime in particular. Isn't there a Hollywood Gundam film in the works? Yes, now there is. It's by the director. I think the director confirmed was the guy who did Godzilla vs. Kong, if I'm not mistaken. Gundam 79 is a cornerstone of anime sci-fi. Distinguishing features are merchandising and its own longevity. The saga collapsed under its own weight. Keeping track of the characters requires a sizable concordance. It's bad enough that the names come from a Scrabble bag. A Scrabble bag. Yeah. So I mean, it's. I only said it was mixed only because they call it the cornerstone of anime sci-fi. GTA was good. I agree. I really liked the anime. It was a good time. I didn't love it. I think I liked it a lot more when it was like very focused on the individual students, and then I feel like the second half it kind of just did whatever, and I was not as invested in the same way. Had that big island subplot towards the end of the show. It was like fine. It was and also I wasn't happy with the ending. The ending was kind of like, oh, okay. There's an old Akari game called iRobot where the CG does look like old Luther CG. Okay. And then G Gundam, I thought they were mixed because they say it's completely unhinged, and that could be taken either way. It's like as a compliment, you know. What? It really has never been hard to keep track of Gundam characters. Couldn't tell you. That's what they think. I never really had that much of a problem either. Oh well. I thought there's some spoilers for Green Legend Ron. There was a final showdown. I'm like, okay. Green Makibao. It's kind of obvious, like you kind of expect that's where it goes, but they kind of just give the whole thing away. Gray Digital Target, and they say the blah 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 happens at the end, and there's also, it's a change from the manga, basically, whatever it is. Thankfully, I forgot. I don't even remember from reading it. Gulliver's Space Travels seems to describe the entire movie. Another instance of this. It happens a lot. Gunbuster, X character dies, and it's not, that's something that's not supposed to be revealed until later. And then it also just gives a lot away. It just seems to describe it a lot down the line. Gundam 79, they spoil the last episode cool stuff. There's like the really cool moment in 70. I mean, there's probably a lot of moments in that last episode. But like, the thing that Char does that's really badass, the last thing he does, that's cool. And they just completely spoiled it. Not a big deal, I guess, but still. And then Guyver, they seem to describe the entire OVA. Similar idea. How isn't it easy to follow the character? It's because of the names, I guess. They don't like the names. It's been a long time since I watched it, but that opening is still stuck with me. Both of them. I love both openings. And the fucking Toshiyuki Suru animation. Crazy. I haven't seen GTO, but I'm kind of getting an assassination classroom vibe from it. Is that accurate? I can see where you think that. They're very different. GTO's much more of a comedy. And Ass Class has more like action and strategy and kind of like a thing to it. And also the school dynamic is different because they focus a lot on the class that the main character teaches, that the alien dude teaches. But also there's that whole mystery about him, like what is he? And he's going to destroy the world, whatever. There's a different dynamic. But also like the class that he's teaching is like the worst ranked class. Like they're all flunkies for whatever reason. But that's, for kind of dumb arbitrary reasons, and they're always in that kind of abandoned school in the countryside. Whereas the school they're actually attached to, the principal is like a dictator, and the exams and shit, and they're facing other classes, and it's like entirely different schools, really, but they're part of the same school. So there's a lot of it deals with the dynamics with those two things as well. So and so GTO, it's kind of different. Like the kids in Ass Class are inherently good people. Some of them maybe not, right? Or you can kind of get whack vibes from them, but they're not all like delinquents like GTOs, where it's like this is a hopeless class and shit. And I don't know, it's a different thing. I bet that they enjoyed G Gundam more than 79. Oh, maybe. Or maybe they just clowned on it for the Windmill Gundam and shit. Second opening being digital was a little weird. Yeah, but again, the animation by Suru is incredible. GTO is not like Ascot, yeah. Okay, so before I get to odd choices, let's get to good. This Grandizer thing. I just want to mention this Grandizer thing. This is really interesting. Grandizer. Surprisingly, a couple of mentions. Okay. Grandizer's artistic heritage has arguably been far more enduring outside Japan. As Goldrake, it was the center of a media storm in Italy in 1975, aimed at unwelcome Japanese imports, an odd ethnic distinction, when the equally Japanese Heidi was also appearing at the time in Italian television without a word of complaint. In France, as Goldorak, it was screened during the summer vacation when only children were watching, thereby possibly becoming, in some statistical sense, the most watched anime in history, with an estimated audience share of 100%. By becoming popular with French children, it also attracted parental concerns over its supposed violence, and became the subject of Lelaine Lurkat's landmark study, 5 years old and left alone with Goldorak, the young child and TV, from 1981. As a reflection of this immense popularity with viewers born around 1970, it has become a recurring topic in contemporary European academic discourse on anime, often referred to by those same children now grown up and polishing their doctorates. It's so interesting. I love that. I'm so happy they mentioned that in the 3rd edition. That's a great addition. I love that insight. It's so interesting. You never hear that otherwise, especially in the West. I like GTO, not as much as the community. I didn't like Ass Class, though. Yeah, I was kind of mad on Ass Class, unfortunately. Anyway, odd choices. So, they say about Time of Stranger, it's recycling the plot from the Goshogun novels. recycling the plot? Don't you mean adapting? Maybe I don't understand. But like, this would be like saying like recycling the plot from the manga. Do you know what I mean? Do you know how weird that sounds? Am I wrong? Does that make sense? I was like, wait, what? What do you mean adapting? Anyway. Grandar. Just when you thought you'd seen it all. Sheesh, alright. I don't know, I just don't like, I never like their sass. It's just not my cup of tea. Where is it? Grandar. I don't want to read the whole thing, but yeah, they really just, it's about angler fishing. In order to stop 7 legendary lures scattered around the world from falling into evil hands, teenager Musashi and his best friends Suguru and Mio set out to save the world, defeating their opponents in a series of martial angling competitions. Based on the manga by Hajime Murata, who was once, predictably, a champion angler. Just when you thought you'd seen it all. But like, that's cool. Why do you have to give snark like that? I don't know, maybe it's not snark. Maybe I'm too sensitive. I like to, yeah. Shapes, did you finish 3,000 Leagues? No, I'm watching it alongside Heidi. So I'm 24 episodes in. And it's okay. I am on the journey now, and I do like it more so far. But it's still kind of not very engaging on a character basis, which is unfortunate. Side note, Grandizer is also getting a Switch game at some point. Wow. One Piece is recycling the plot from One Piece. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, Greed. This was funny. From the creator of Space Runaway Ideon. That's all they say is this, from the creator of Space Runaway Ideon. And you look at the, it was like, wait, Tomino directed this? No, Kogawa directed it. He's the creator behind Cool Cool Bai, and he's the character designer for Space Runaway Ideon, as well as Dunbine and Elgheim and other stuff, you know. I think Zeta as well. But like, no, Kogawa is not the creator of, I mean, maybe? You know, I messaged, Konane, I don't know how to pronounce it, but like one of the people I follow on Twitter that's like a big Kogawa nut. He talks about him all the time, posts caps about, you know, about Elgheim and shit. And I'm like, is there any credence to this? And he's like, no. And he sent me some links and sources of Kogawa interviews, but no, he's not the creator of Space Runaway Ideon. So that was weird. The Go Shogun books were also written by the same guy as Time of Stranger, so it's more of a self-adaptation. It's so weird. Grimm's Fairy Tales. So this was the show that I worked on, and I definitely made sure, because like the staff and the year and everything was the same. And like, so this is definitely the one that I worked on for Discotheque, to like reassemble all the, you know, use the Japanese masters and re-edited them to match the dub cut, so that you can match the dub to the thing. They say that sometimes, this is a nitpick, I guess, all things considered, but like, they say sometimes 2 or 3 an episode. Like, they adapt a bunch of fairy tale stories, sometimes 2 or 3 to an episode, and sometimes serialized across 2. No, unless my memory's really that bad. Every single story takes at least 1 entire 20-minute episode. And some of them take 2. Like, I'm almost positive. There was, with the dub, when it came to the recutting of the dub, they didn't. You know, they took, like, the 2-part episodes and made them 1 episode instead. So they abridged them a lot. Or just kind of condensed them really heavily to make it 1 episode. But there was never an instance, to what I remember, where like half the episode was one story and half of it was another. That's Manga Sekai, and Manga Ijin would be half episodes, would be 1 story, and then they would tell 2 stories at a time. But that was not the case with Grimm's from what I can discern, I'm almost positive. Anyway. Tomino's involved in greed, I thought. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Oh, maybe, but they list Kogawa as the director, and they don't list Tomino at all. Didn't the Cool Bye guy also make Sabungle? Or at least the characters for it? Yeah, he's the character designer for Sabungle, yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Gundam. This is all from the Gundam section. Oh, God. That was a wacky article, man. It was long, too. It's one of those few times where they're really not just going to, like, give you all the... You know, they would. They'll detail every... It's long because they'll detail every single entry for it. But they also give their couple of their takes in this. You saw above here, like, there were negative multiple franchises. Not Gundress, but, like, these three. And then Gundam 79 as well was kind of mixed on. Let's see. What's some stuff like whack stuff they said? Not at all in the first edition, but they don't really ever give Tomino credit as the creator of the franchise until way down the line, in like a kind of a passing comment. So that was kind of annoying to me. Touching down in enemy territory, they fight out to their own. Did I write that right? I'm so sorry. This is describing the original 79 series. Touching down in enemy territory, they fight their way out to their own forces, who reveal that they are new types, a new breed of human with nascent psionic powers. Let me read I don't want to read the entire synopsis, but like, they pretty much go like, oh, white base. As they head for Earth, they are hounded by Zeon forces led by the dashing enemy officer Char Aznavour. Touching down in enemy territory, they fight their way out to their own forces, who reveal that they are new types. So it says they fight their way out to their own forces, meaning like the Federation tells them that they're new types. They, as in like the white base, and not like just Armoro. Like, huh? That was a little bizarre. Not quite correct. A little weird. I actually found the OVA by accident recently. Greed was actually directed by a storyboarder for Zeta Gundam. Tomino had nothing to do with Greed. Okay. Yeah, they don't say anything about Tomino in that. They just say from the creator of Space Runaway Ideon, which I think they were mistaking as Kogawa, who was the director. At least that's what they list. Greed. Commander Char. Yeah. They have more things to say about Char than just that. Hold on. Yeah, wait, what? Yeah, that was weird. They have this one quote. And a long-running future saga that has often collapsed under its own weight, only to be brought back with several attempts to reset the continuity. Reset doesn't seem quite the right word here. I think they mean Victory Gundam and Turn A, how they are set so far in the future that they're basically AU. And there is that thing with Turn A, right, where it is pretty much AU the entire time. Like there's no anything like that. But then they discover that there's this whole allure and everything, and it is technically connected to UC. But it's so far in the future that it's like, completely obsolete. That it's pretty much a reset, So I guess that could work. But then like Victory, I'm not familiar with Victory in the same way, but I know it takes place in UC, but it's like feels so far in the future. There's no Char equivalent or impact of the Zeon and new types or anything. I don't know. So it just seemed like a weird way to phrase this. I don't know if they were talking about AU either. I don't know. In which case, that's not a reset either. That's just a completely different continuity. I'm excited for Suisei no Majo Gundam. Yeah, Witch from Mercury. Pretty cool. Like the title. Like the character. Mech looks cool. I mean, the Federation calls the white base or Pegasus in the novel as a group of new types if they're thinking about the light novel. They might be. That's true. Okay. that could be something. But from what I remember from watching the anime, don't recall that is how it went. But maybe that's the case. Yeah. Most infamously, they're talking about the names, right? Of like grab bag from a Scrabble bag. Most infamously, Char Aznavour is named after French singer Charles Aznavour, which would have been a poor enough gag in a shallow comedy, but is quite damaging to the tone of an otherwise serious sci-fi saga. This is the first I've heard of it. Who the fuck is Charles Aznavour? Who cares? I mean, sheesh. That does not take away from it at all. That does not take away from it at all. It's like so weird thing to point out and be critical of. Like, that's the first I've ever heard of that. I would think that that'd be, you know how like people make fun of Quattro Vagina as like, oh, it's my new identity for vaginas. Like that's funny. Like that's really ridiculous and wacky. But like you'd think that you've heard of this, of like, oh, French singer Charles Aznavour. It's quite damaging to the tone of an otherwise serious sci-fi saga. Really? That, I don't know. That was weird to me. Gaps in the continuity were plugged. Yeah, we reworded that because they were like gaps in the continuity. They're not gaps. I wasn't missing. Like, I think they're referring to like War in the Pocket and Stardust Memory and Thunderbolt. I mean, Thunderbolt hadn't come out yet, but like Thunderbolt would fit here. Thunderbolt is not plugging a gap in the continuity. It's just giving you more information. Like, oh, like this is another story that happened during this time, and it's kind of a separate story otherwise. I wouldn't really call that a gap in the continuity. You know what I mean? Maybe that's being nitpicky, though. How would that be damaging to the tone in any way? Literally, what are they talking about? You know what I mean? It's like, what? Yeah, I was really puzzled by the Charles Aznavour reference. I'm sure you were, Victor. Charles Aznavour was also a diplomat. Like, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I don't know. Weird. Then they say Victory Gundam, though the director, who had gained the name Kill 'Em All Tomino after Zambot 3, soon asserted his trademark angst and tragedy. I would be a little annoyed of them mentioning the Kill 'Em All thing, of him just because, you know, the whole thing. And I'm a little tired of it, but I get where it's coming from. My weird thing is that, like, what about Zeta? Didn't he have the whole Kill 'Em All mentality? What about fucking Idion? I mean, Idion makes sense, like, whatever. Like, what does that have to do with it? You know, Zambot is the first mecha he does that with. Apparently, Umino Triton has something similar to that, in a way. But, like, Zambot 3 is where he got that name, technically. But, like, and I get not mentioning Idion, but, like, Zeta, maybe he doesn't do it in an extreme capacity as, like, Victory. I have not seen Victory, so don't spoil it. But, like, I don't know. Interesting. Yeah, Victory takes place about 70 years after Original Gundam. I mean, Origin retcons it as a name he made up on the spot, right? Yeah. Yeah, it does. It's a codename. Well, no. Origin doesn't retcon that, I don't think. Because the Original Gundam, like, episode 2, she calls him Casval. So it is, I think we do know it's a hidden identity. That it's like a codename, is, you know, but we don't know the full story. And I don't know how much of it we know in Original Gundam before Origin gives the fuller picture, the context and shit. But every time Tomino gets depressed, his characters die. Oh no! I don't think the Kill 'Em All thing is like inherently negative thing to say. Yeah, not necessarily. It's just sort of like it's sort of just like it always comes off to me as kind of a taunting kind of nickname. I don't know. I get kind of a vibe. Ring of Gundam in which a pilot goes in search of an archive that explains the original story. Good luck with that! Is it really that hard? Is it really that hard? It feels like you haven't even properly engaged with the story if you think it's complicated like that. You know what I mean? I guess it's a little different than like one, like, I don't know, Assassination Classroom. 2 seasons. 1 continuous, like, sure. But like, I don't know. That's just weird to me. A 9-year-old in 79, here's the Silver Otaku thing. A 9-year-old in 1979 would be 44 in 2014. Perhaps explains the origin of super merchandise like our Char Aznable themed motor car, seemingly designed to feed the desires of an aging fan with surplus wealth and a midlife crisis. And that's how they end the article about Gundam. That's how they end it, with a fucking bat, the midlife crisis and shit. Oh, no, I'm sorry, they don't do that. They end it with this line. Silver Otaku, sure to keep Gundam rebooting itself eternally like a malfunctioning computer. That's how they end it. Like a malfunctioning computer. So weird. I don't know why they have such contempt for that franchise. I get it. It's kind of like, you know, whatever, and there's things about it, or least favorites, and blah, 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 and a big hulking franchise, whatever. It's so weird. Like, why would you do this to yourself? You know? Gundress, at the time, in 1999, it was a fiasco. 15 years later, all too many anime seem half-finished and fandom hardly seems to notice. I mean, I agree with a lot of them seem half-finished. This annoys me. It's further contempt for anime fans, and fandom hardly seems to notice. No, I think they do. They just accept it and move on. That's the reality. It happens. You know what I mean? And I've had the theory where it's like, that's probably intentional. It's probably intentional because the whole read the manga, and you know, it's like, it's not meant to be a full adaptation. Otherwise, it would there would be fears that it supplants the original material. You know? And it's not really doing it in surface, you know? But there are some anime that are complete and finished, and that's probably because, I don't know, there's something with, like, you know, with Ashino Joe, for example. That's a complete adaptation. And that happened 7 years after the anime finished. After the first season, actually 10 years after, about 9 or 10 after the first anime, and 7 years since the manga finished. A while ago. And that was because the creators really wanted to make it, and the manga creator, you know, Chiba and Kajiwara, I believe, was alive still by that point, I imagine, approved of it. They were like, sure, go for it, cool. And probably there was demand for it, because it was a popular manga, really influential, successful. So I don't know. Also, are you trying to say Char and Quattro the same person? That's some tinfoil hat conspiracy right there. Yeah, I know it's a big stretch. No, I was just making a comparison. I was just like, oh, like a different character. You know, this other character is a wacky name. I don't necessarily want to go into that far. I mean, I like the theory. I think it's fun, but like, I don't know. It's cool. Char steals the name and takes over the life of someone who looked similar to him and was going to the same school as a Garm as a cover. So they end the Gundam article by saying, if you watch Gundam, you're a man-child. Not those particular words. Don't put the words in their mouth. They just say that it's going to keep rebooting eternally thanks to old people who are nostalgic and have surplus wealth in a midlife crisis, like a malfunctioning computer. 2 different things. I mean, isn't that most otakus? Right, I just remembered that. Yeah. And then, Mahojin Guru Guru. For some reason, there's no mention of the 2000 sequel series in either edition. Or the movie. I get the movie, maybe. It's a kind of a small thing. You know, it's also anime original, whatever. But, like, the sequel series is, like, 38 episodes. And continues the adaptation. Kind of significant. And usually they're very thorough about this thing. Usually I don't, you know, one of the rules here is sort of like, Don't be so bent out of shape with entries with what's absent, what's not here. But like, they've been really thorough. I've never had to really complain about that. So I feel like at this point, it's like, I mean, if it's not there, that is a little unusual. I'm surprised. So that's what I wrote all these rules before we started reading it, and so I was like, yeah, I don't really have to worry about like what's absent because there's pretty much everything's here from what I can tell, even stuff that doesn't seem to exist. You know, so. And then I'm now interested, about an hour and 34, so I think we got enough time. It's some Texas family named Asnable. Yeah. I feel companies are more willing to greenlight complete anime adaptations of finished manga. Yeah. Maybe, but then the way they go through with it, I'm not sure. By the way, do you know where to find the movie, or only Torna found was dead? No. It was a long time since I went into finding. I think I may have seen on YouTube or something, or I don't know. I can't remember. I remember I had to kind of go out of my way to find it for sure. I couldn't find it on like, 9 anime. Alright, stuff I'm now interested in. Graduation, Grandal, Great Composers. Okay, here comes the fun joy of looking up these titles I'm definitely not going to be able to find. This is going to suck. It always turns into a hassle, you know what I mean? And it's a shame. It's a real shame. So this is the one they're referring to here. Sokugyo, Graduation. 2-episode OVA. That looks fun. It's kind of like about like what are these girls, each of these girls gonna do when they get to college, basically. What are they gonna do for their careers and stuff? Seems like a nice time. Of course, it's only 1,000 members, and most people are gonna find it average, so of course it kind of has that rating. And then there's a sequel, Marriage Kikon. And this is like a other. Oh, interesting. All boys school. The 5 must perform a play. What? The 5 must put on a performance of the play Little Women. Interesting. Not very good ratings. God damn. Pointless and plotless anime. Okay. Let's see what else there is. Grandal. Yeah. Let me look through the Grandal. What was the thing about this one? Oh yeah, this sort of like the it's either a lighthearted spoof of anime's cliches or a cynical trawl through them, depending on how charitable you feel that day. And the description kind of seemed fun. 16-year-old anime fan girl Hikaru has a mad scientist for a father, a crush on high school senior, and a passionate obsession with the anime hero Rockin' Dorger. She dreams of becoming a real-life anime heroine, only to discover that she already is. Recovering her memories of her childhood, she realizes she's the crown princess of Planet Gran, and blah blah blah. And is that Dragon Half? Switching in the style of Dragon Half from normal to squashed down cartoon mode in the blink of an eye. Stuff like that. It's like, okay. Seems cute and fun. Very colorful. Oh my gosh. Only 3-episode OVA. Oh, of course it's a 5. All these fucking ones are going to be... Because I'm never going to... I would have heard about the show already. You know what I mean? I feel companies are more willing to greenlight... Yeah. Wow, a VN adaptation they didn't hate. Yeah. Well, they were mixed on it because they said squanders the potential of the original or whatever. So they had some hopes for it. They were like, that's not bad. Kind of backhanded. Great composers. Yeah, of course that's not going to show up, huh? Ugh. Let's find it in the book. Composers. What's it called? Let's see. Meikyoku. Hey, got it. Yeah, some composers and stuff. Of course, less than. Oh my gosh. I sure know how to pick them. God damn it, I know how to pick them. Fuck me. Okay, gray digital target. I've never seen the visuals for this. Let's see it together. Target. Okay. Oh, it's a lot more colorful than I was expecting. You know, gray. Gray digital target. Oh. Wow. I kind of like. Ooh, the designs look pretty unique. Like distinctive, you know? Oh, wow. Wait, is that the, that totally looks like Orgus. Like the designs kind of look like that. I don't know. That's cool. Hey, Kiyoshi Kobayashi's in it. Say less. Who's the character designer? Ugh, whatever. Well, he does have original. Okay. Okay, yeah. I had the same thing where like the noses were very distinctive. We looked at this earlier, Galvian. So you did the character designs for that. That's really cool. That's neat. All right. That looks exciting. I kind of want to check. Maybe it's on YouTube. It is. It is indeed. Looks like fun. Probably put that on watch later. Probably have that in a tab later. Gulliver's Space Travels. I think it was the 95 one. And it could be that too. Oh, no, it was, because it was like a Toei movie. Yeah, Uchu Roko. That's something. That's whack. Kind of cool. Neat. And I again know how to pick them. That's cool. Yeah. I'm interested. Fun. Let's read some comments. Didn't Sage hate that graduation marriage of... Oh, yeah! He did just talk about that recently. Yeah! I guess he hated... sure. I think he was just like, blah. It's so blah and middle of the road, and who cares? It's like, I can't believe you're being so worked up about mid. That could never. Haven't watched Sage in years, but sometimes this video pops up. Of course, I don't put much faith in anything he says. They still be at Dragon Half. Wow, a new part of the Monogatari series I've never heard of? Yeah. Regarding Grey, I wonder if Satoshi can pull it off. I have heard this adaptation of They Were 11 is considered really good, so he can direct good anime sometimes. Yeah, They Were 11 was pretty good. But again, a lot of that, like... Or did I think it was good? I don't remember what I rated it. I'm pretty sure I liked it. Oh, I rated it as meh. That's too bad. I think at the time when I watched it, I was like, ooh, I love the battle, like Among Us. Among Us wasn't even a thing when I watched it, like in 2017. Oh, I did write, this is one of the early entries in Kitsu where I actually wrote something about it, like a review at the time of me finishing it. I really was a sucker for the concept. I fucking called it. And while I like some of the elements they put into effect, the majority of it was underdeveloped and just eye-rolling at some points. I'm such a fucking poser. In 2017, I'm so insufferable. Unremarkable technical-wise. Parts of me want to see this become a full series, but just executed way better. So I like the concept a lot, but like, I just was dissatisfied. But it's also a short manga, so like you can't really be surprised. I've heard good things about it too, but then I personally didn't like it, I guess, as much. Yeah, and I don't know. Did Satoshi Dezaki direct Cypher? I don't think he did. I think he produced it. Fucking rocking it. Rocking in the free world. 10,000 members. Let's fucking go. Jay Cabrera, dude. Dude, fuck yeah. He was in Cypher, and then he did the narrator in Tonigawa. Have you ever seen, have you ever heard this? Fuck
One
yeah.
side, number 2. Boring, 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 gata, gata, score 0, striker, humor, idea.
See, this is just English, but like, you can tell like
Yeah,
the narrator.
Right.
That's right.
Urutora, relaxation,
Relaxation.
barbecue, unfair, whiteboard,
Unfair.
card game, PowerPoint.
PowerPoint. I just realized I'm still on my. I didn't even show anything. Just perfect, because I want to get sued to the ground. I don't want to get the copyright, whatever. Oh, I've seen screencasts of this Gumbo movie. It looks sick. Oh, cool. As long as Grey isn't as bad as one wounded man, that might be enjoyable. Yeah. But yeah, Che Guevara. Remember why it was on Cypher? I think it was oh no, Tsuneo Tominaga directed it. But he looks familiar. I could have sworn I literally just saw his picture. What? He directed They Were 11? Wait. That's interesting. Satoshi is listed as the director, and then Tsuneo Tominaga is listed as the director and the storyboard artist. And he's an episode director for Grey Digital Target, but there's one episode. Satoshi Dezaki is also the director on that. What the fuck is going on? That's so weird. Carol. Tenkosei. Wait, Tenkosei sounds familiar. Never seen. What is this? Sorry if it's still me. No synopsis? But the what? This is so crazy! Wait a minute. So, like, the cover, it's like, oh, that's kind of neat. Oh, that kind of looks like nice and retro and, like, interesting. There's no synopsis. Less than 1,000 members. 5.7. This one review, 9 out of 10. Friggin' hard. That goes hard. Picks that go hard. That's cool. There's some other stuff that this guy, Tsunego Tominaga did. So weird. Yeah. Are you reading credits from Mal? Yeah. So it could be completely inaccurate. I understand. Didn't the guy play in Ultimate? Didn't he play the guy in Ultimate Teacher? His voice sounds kind of similar to me. Oh, maybe. Jay Cabrera. He's on Mal. He's only listed as those 3 roles with Cypher and Tonigawa, but it has no score because it's 18+. What? Really? That's how Mal works? Wait, which one didn't have a score and was like? I have the fucking memory span of a goldfish, dude. Oh, is it NA with the members? Wait. I don't know what I mean. By the way, what's the song that we're listening to right now? It's the music is from yeah, that's Moomin music. Let me pull it up on the. It's with Autumn Ambiance. It's neat. It's good. But it's mostly the same exact tracks that we've been listening to, but just in a different order and with no rain ambiance behind it. Yeah. Barbecue. Anyway. Yeah. I think that'll do it. I think I read everything I wanted to read, and hour and 50 for stream or so. A little less. That's fine by me. I don't think I have time to actually grocery shop because like the movie's at 9 and shit. I'm so bad. I am the worst person. I have breakfast for tomorrow morning. Don't worry, I'm not gonna starve or nothing. But I just have to figure something out. Anywho, tell Mr. Wolf that Duncan lives at 867 North Maple Drive. Aha. 18 plus stuff is scored on Mal. NA is only when there are not enough ratings for a score. That's what I thought. That's what I thought it was. But you're right. I just noticed the Tenkosei that I was interested in. There's no synopsis. It's a hentai. I see. Fair enough. Anywho, yeah. So I'm gonna head out. Hopefully next week we do a lot of G 3rd edition, maybe even all of it. That'd be kind of a lot, but I want to. We've spent a lot of time on G, and I think I've skipped 2 weeks in this little period of time, so I'm so sorry about that. And it's also just been very piecemeal. But I'm so happy that the kind of the same people come out and stream. And you guys are so supportive and really cool. Really make this worth it. I don't feel like I'm talking to myself. Really makes me feel good, I guess. It's scored, but it always has ranked NA. Oh, ranked probably, yeah. I can imagine the rank, because it's the same with kids stuff, I imagine. Because they always feel like separate categories. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll see you guys around. Thank you guys so much. You guys have a good week, hopefully. Oh, before I forget, you guys have any thoughts on Adult Swim greenlighting 2 more season? They can do what they want with it. Kind of whatever. Not gonna take away from the original Fully Cool, you know what I mean? Nah. Yeah, peace.